sense. I might join it too on my phone. Just to see people. I love how I'm on the account. There we go. How you guys doing today? We'll be starting in a second. Wait. My apologies if you hear stuff in the background. I live on a very prominent road in DC. Let's see. It was like I can use a little loud. That's funny. That's hilarious. Alright, let's see what time is it. 8:01. Who else is in here? We got 7 people in here. Wait, say hi. I'm trying to see. We got Wesley. We Set Wellness is in here. And you guys. We got D Murder. How you doing, D Murder? We have
man, Chocolate 24 in here.
We got Conscious Cooks in here. How y'all guys doing today? How y'all doing? Alright, you guys ready for some
naturals? I gotta send us over some products so we can do a review.
Come on, I'm ready. You know, I tried it one time. I'm ready for it again.
We gotta do a review.
I gotta have one of the reviews. And Dr. Lakeisha's in here. Let's turn this down so you guys want to hear that. Hey, Courtney. You guys. Alright, you guys. Oh, I'm in a bad angle. I'm actually gonna change the light because that's really. There you go. It's really bright on my face. How you guys doing today? This episode of Marijuana Weed Crush Wednesday is called Ying and Yang of Marijuana. You know, I'm your boy Mark.
This is your boy Tay.
And this is Weed Crush Wednesday, as it always is, at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. So check us out on our website at marijuanamatters.com.
This is a show we're gonna put you up on game. Consider weed culture and the industry about what's going on right now.
For our first segment, it's gonna be me. I'll be taking over for the day. I'm not gonna take the ball, but I have somebody that has to request in. The first out, and what greening out is, the symptoms of greening out, and why greening out is bad. And as you first see,
yo, what up, kid?
How you doing today, Jack?
What's good? Marijuana Mag is in the building. What's good?
It's good. You know how we go. Right here, we have the owner of Conscious Crooks, Mr. J. He's a weed entrepreneur and a fashion mogul as well. You guys say hi to him. Put him on. You guys know I rock with people, black people when it comes to merch. So
show some love in the chat.
You know,
show some love.
I always call merch. I always gotta make sure my kids sweet.
Always repping the brand.
Gotta make sure my people always good. But as you heard earlier, Jay, when we talking about greening out the first 15 minutes, all that time.
Okay.
First 15 minutes of the line. But off your prospect, do you know what greening out is?
You said bringing out?
Greening out. Green and out. What ING?
No.
Do you know?
No. What is greening out? No.
So greening out is a symptom of marijuana or smoking too much marijuana or having THC in your body.
Right.
So it's pretty much what they like to call an overdose of marijuana. But it's not lethal or fatal, but it's very painful.
And it's called greening out.
Greening out. It's pretty much I got something for you.
No, I think this has happened to me before. I just didn't know that there was a term or an expression for it, but I believe that has happened to me before.
Yes, so we greening out. You got paranoia, you have anxiety, confusion,
right?
Heart rate. Pretty much to the point where your anxiety is painful, your heart is beating through your chest, or nausea. And most people will call this a bad high, or not a bad high, or I didn't have the right type of weed, marijuana.
Yeah.
That they're pretty much smoking so much or consuming so much THC. It doesn't matter what kind of smoking, eating, as long as you consume THC, you can still green out.
Yeah. I've experienced such before.
Yeah, I also do agree on this. It's not a good thing. It's kind of, how can I explain this in a good term? It's not painful, but it's annoying.
Let me ask you this: can it also lead to dehydration?
Yes, very much can. Cottonmouth is a thing. You need to drink a lot of water after you finish greening out.
Yeah.
The whole process, you will have to be completely hydrated. That's actually one of the best things. But here's the thing: how to avoid greening out, right?
Right.
Automatically think you reduce your income of THC, which is right. You slow down what you're doing. Say like you smoke or you eat an edible a day, the whole thing a day. You smoke 2 or 3 blunts a day. You cut that down. Right. Probably say like half of the brownie or a quarter of the brownie, and you let your body get used to doing the low income of THC. And then when that happens and you finish greening out, you also slowly go back up to your consumption. Don't automatically go back to smoking those 2 blunts a day or that whole edible a day, because you will green out again, and probably faster. Right. Probably faster. Second time second wave is always the strongest. In my opinion, second wave is always the strongest. Right. But like you said, from dehydration as well, you need to drink up and eat up. So as in drink a lot of water. If you do smoke something right before you do it. Right before you do it, probably a little meal, probably, I wouldn't say cereal, but like have some snacks or something, just like actually put something in your stomach, and then you can smoke, or then you can probably consume. Because how can I say this? It can start for 30 minutes to an hour, which is a really quick one, or it can go to 6+ hours. The green out. Just the green out. It's not over a couple of days. It's usually hours work. So once you get to that point, your THC consumption will come down, but you'll go right back up to it as fast as you.
Now, what has happened if you like mix liquor and all?
Good question. Good question.
That right there is when greening out becomes fatal and lethal. There's multiple counts of people have thrown up and choked on their own throw up. Yeah, like right there on one count is Jimi Hendrix. That's how he I'm not saying he passed away from greening out, but choking from throw up is the way he has passed away. And when it comes to greening out and alcohol, when you mix things together, your body, you drink too much alcohol, your body's like, okay, my stomach can't handle this. I have to throw it back up. But you're high, you're so high that your body is just loose. You're in the mood, but I realize you're throwing up, it's in your throat. And if you're by yourself and you don't know, you can literally choke right there. That's why if you ever drink out while you're drinking, that person cannot be alone. They have to be watched probably 24 hours very attentively. They have to throw up. If they do throw up, you have to watch them throw up, shower them, and make sure they drink a lot of water. Hey, I'm not waving. How you guys doing today? Let me see what's going on with that. Please turn the camera up, Jay.
Say that again.
Oh, that was the next question. Thank you, Mr. Journey. Have any of y'all ever had smoker's hangover?
Yeah, definitely.
Describe what smoker's hangover would be.
Some people do like to smoke before they go to bed because it helps them, go to sleep. When you wake up, sometimes refreshed. But then there's the point to where you're smoking, not to go to sleep, but you smoke, then you fall asleep because you smoke so much. Because there's so much THC and so much marijuana you consume before your body will make you go to sleep. And when you wake up, your body's still in that high. You wake up groggy, you wake up with a headache, you wake up like, it's not sickness or you got throw up, it's more like your body is just off. Like your shoulders might feel stiff, like your arms a little, it's not all the way there.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that also. Yes, I've definitely experienced that multiple times too.
Yeah, that's I don't like that. That on my part, my part, waking up high is good, but waking up the hangover not so much. I don't really like regular hangover. Let me see. No, you guys know why. I told you guys why some people bring out. Let's go to some. Now, like I said, it's called wing hangover. It's when people drink or not people smoke way too much. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, basically just
I went over everything.
Smoke too much and then it's like a what can you say for that? Like overlap.
Yeah, I would say overlap. So pretty much with THC responders in your head, it's pretty will say, hey, this is way too much for me. My body, from what I can work with, I can't do this anymore. We're gonna have to stop right here. And if you keep doing it, it then's gonna remind you like, okay, if you want to keep going, here's a little pain in your arms, or his little headache started off, had a little short migraine, or let me say like you get aggravated very fast, or you just every time you smoke, like I don't know why I keep throwing up. Like you have these type of questions, like your body. Because some people, like people say, marijuana does have effects when it comes to medical, but it's also the user drug. So if you get too much of it, and if you consume too much of it, then you at one point you're the one who has to stop it. No one else can stop it for you. You have to stop it. That's what your body is there for. It's like, hey, I know this is your body. You do what you do, but I work inside. Exactly. We need to calm down. We need to have a what can I say? Actually, I'll get this away a little bit. It's called tolerance break. We'll be talking about this in another segment, but to let you guys know, it's called tolerance break. That's pretty much what you need to do. It's just completely stop what you're doing. Not full on break, because most people have that when they try to break, they automatically get the other thing I call, which is
okay. So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the people that will be suffering from some of the effects that you speak of will be people that are obviously abusing the marijuana for reasons like anxiety, stress, things of that nature. So what would you recommend? And I'm telling you this because I've experienced a lot of things that you're talking about, and it was due to exactly what I'm saying, anxiety, stress. And so what would you recommend for other people listening and for myself also? That would say, what would you recommend as some substitutes or some things to do to avoid smoking so much to deal with those feelings of stress and anxiety, because that's what's causing you to abuse it in the first place?
Well, I have a wonderful follower in here called Reset Wellness. I would honestly go. I know what they say, I'm gonna say it, but I'll go talk to them as well. I would go over to CBD size with marijuana, because with anxiety and with stress, you need to be relaxed. Then these body has to be in a state where it's relaxed, and that's the part of marijuana.
Yeah, so that's the next segment we're gonna get into. Difference between THC and CBD, and kind of combats with mental health, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we really want to tackle that and just inform people what the difference is and how they both can help.
Talking facts.
Okay, so I got one for them then. Okay, now can you do the same thing to yourself with CBD now? By like, let's say you smoking that CBD marijuana and you abusing it. Can the same thing happen?
No, you actually can't, because with CBD, you don't get that high sensation. So it's not really possible for you to green out. With CBD, it's just it's like a body relaxer, or like it's help you with anxiety and like pain and stuff like that. So it doesn't give you like the highness or in your head or stuff like that. So it's just mainly for just body purposes and
body relaxation.
Relaxing.
Got it. So I mean, there you go. That's the answer right there. That's one of them.
All right, Jay, we're gonna have to go to the next host or next guest real quick.
Okay.
Wonderful talking to you. Like you always say, it's your family, the Brody. Have a great night, bro.
Thanks, kid.
Let's see who's next on our lovely board.
So next we have Dr. Lakeisha.
Not Miss Doctor. You earned that, right? I believe when people have earned that doctor, I'm going to say doctor. I don't care. I've known you for 20 years. So
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Am I saying it right? Was it Dr. Lakeisha?
It's Dr. Lakeisha. Yes, it is.
Okay. So why don't you just tell the people like some of the
I
things that
think
you
I'm
do
very
around cannabis and
Yes, it's Dr. Lakeisha. It is. Yes. Am I connected?
Yeah, you are.
I think it's like a lag.
It's a little lag. Okay. Well, actually, can you hear us now? Can you hear us? You hear us now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, great.
Okay. Yeah, so I just want
There
to
we
ask
go. I think that's better. All right.
Yeah, so I just want to ask you, just tell the guests in here about a little bit of things that you do about the cannabis industry, some of the things that you want to talk about.
My apologies. That was a very disrespectful call. I apologize.
No, sure. So I'm a traditional naturopath. So a natural health doctor, and I'm a registered master herbalist. So I'm a professional member of the American Herbalist Guild. And that means that I can prepare and dispense botanical materia medica in a way that's generally recognized as safe. So that's just sort of a fancy way of compound herbs. And I make different, concoctions, whether it's capsules or tinctures or, topicals to address, common illness. So really, I utilize herbs as the basis of nutrition to combat the symptoms of chronic degenerative and terminal illness. That's really like my profession. That's what I do like as my day job. When it comes to the cannabis industry, though, specifically, I work really hard to make sure that patients have access to cannabis, or people have access to cannabis, because we have an endogenous cannabinoid system in our body, and supplementing with, nutritionally with cannabis or hemp-based products is really a necessity.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you again now, yes. Can you guys hear me at all?
Yeah.
It is lag.
It just lags just a little bit.
That's Jamaica and the Wi-Fi. Like that's the perils of Jamaica and Wi-Fi. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. You're right here talking to us. It's all that matters.
Yeah, so I don't think a lot of people caught the last part of what you were saying. You just repeat that.
So what I was saying is that actually supplementing like nutritionally with like a cannabis-based or hemp-based product actually required to sort of, sustain human life, because our endogenous cannabinoid system needs supplementation just like any other system in our body. We don't produce enough endocannabinoids to keep that system functioning properly.
Sorry, I'm doing what he was doing.
Yeah, so today we're just gonna talk about the difference between CBD and THC, and just some of the conditions that they can cure. So with CBD, I'm sure you know this, is that mainly it's an extract from hemp or marijuana, a hemp plant, and it basically contains 0.3% of THC. Yeah, so while THC and marijuana plant contain higher concentration of THC.
You have something to say?
Yes. So let me say that there are, and I'm sorry, but I have to bring the doctor boring and the science part to it, because that's really good.
Yeah.
That's where the education starts. So, THC, CBD are cannabinoids, first of all. So there are over 120 cannabinoids that are known in the cannabis plant. And we only study very few of them, like maybe about 17 of them actively. And THC and CBD are just cannabinoids. That's what they are. So they're part of the active constituents of the plant. But there are also terpenoids, so terpenes, there's flavonoids, and there's lipids. So there's a number of active constituents in the plant that help with conditions besides, just cannabinoids, THC or CBD. Number one, let me say that. Number two, they don't cure anything. We need to think about it more in a nutritional aspect. We're supplementing our system. So our brain produces endocannabinoids naturally to support our endogenous cannabinoid system. The phytocannabinoids, so the THC and CBD that are found in the cannabis and hemp plants, they actually mirror very close chemical composition the endocannabinoids that our brain produces naturally. So what you're doing is you're just supplementing. That's why it's called a phytocannabinoid. So it's from a plant. A phytocannabinoid, and we're just supplementing our endogenous cannabinoid system. That's what we're doing. We're supplementing what our brain produces naturally, but nutritionally with a plant.
Okay, so
I didn't come to your class.
right, that's a lot of good information. I think a lot of people don't really know. I didn't know as well. So.
I did not know 120 components in there. I thought it was 17. I thought it was 17. I didn't know it was 120. Wow.
Yeah, there's
what are like what are like some of the most common, I guess, medical benefits that you see people use for CBD?
Okay, so CBD as a standalone, we have Cb1 and Cb2 receptors in our body, right? We have two receptors, Cb1 and Cb2, that speak to phytocannabinoids, including CBD. But we have over 300 receptor sites in our body that speak to cannabinoids, right? Unfortunately, CBD as a standalone cannot speak to both of our receptors. You have to have some THC along with the CBD if you want to have full efficacy. CBD as a standalone, as an isolated constituent, does not do much of anything, to be honest, except for fill up those receptors that are CBD responsive. That's it. You need what's called the Entourage Effect. That's what they refer to it as. So it's the way that all of the cannabinoids, the terpenoids, the flavonoids, and the lipids play together that really give you the greatest benefit. Now, I'm not saying that if CBD is the only thing that you have access to, that you shouldn't take it, because everybody's suffering from an endogenous cannabinoid system deficiency. So if all you can get is CBD, great, go for that. But if you're expecting it to be this like panacea, like it's just going to like cure everything that ails you, it's not. That's just, I'm sorry to break that to you, but that's the cold hard facts on that one.
And that's what we like. Yeah, I need facts. Don't tell me nothing around it makes you want to hear it. Tell me the truth. I want to know the whole truth.
Yeah.
Okay. But thanks for joining us. Marijuana Matters. Thanks for glad to have you on here.
I have one more question.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. It's kind of like just thinking about it as a business way. So I've tried CBD blunts, is what people can say, or joints, what people can say. It has the effect of tobacco, it has the taste of tobacco, but and the effect of relaxation of it as well, without the addiction part of the nicotine. Do you believe that at some point, if CBD can get to manufacturers into businesses and stores, do you think it can take over the tobacco industry? If they do it that way. If that way of CBD is exploited and has a whole bunch of revenue put into it.
That's what we're seeing happening, actually, because CBD stores and products are popping up everywhere. I was in the airport because I travel a lot, and I was in the airport. They have a whole CBD store in the airport, and I was generally shocked. You can pick up CBD products, at your local neighborhood gas station or, things like that. Unfortunately, a lot of those products don't actually have a CBD content. Those products, like most of them, don't even have CBD in it, unfortunately. That's just happens. I can't quite see that product. Oh, I sort of see it in particular. But, there's a lot to be said for CBD as a flower. Let me break down one thing to you, too, like a little bit of facts here. Mm-hmm. So people want to separate like cannabis and hemp. They come from the same genus and the same family. It really is. The only difference is like if you're using cannabis-based hemp products or industrial hemp products. And a lot of those things are made from industrial hemp, but you're not really getting the greatest benefit because you're not getting all of the cannabinoids that are fully available in a cannabis-based hemp product in a product like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I'm glad I asked that too. Thank you.
So it was glad to have you on here, Dr. Lakeisha. Oh, we got one more question.
I keep forgetting. My mind's like, okay, that's good. The next one comes. How does marijuana matter to you? That's our end all and be all question. That I got asked in the last guest, but what does marijuana matter to you?
What does it matter to me? Let's see. So, what cannabis matters to me is because I'm going to say one more time, we have an endogenous cannabinoid system in our body, and supplementation is required. Just like with, every other system in our body, we don't produce enough iron, we don't produce enough vitamins and minerals that we need, so we have to eat food to get nutrients so that our body can perform and function optimally. It's really important that we supplement our endogenous cannabinoid system, which means that we have to take a cannabis or hemp-based supplement. It is what it is. Our brain doesn't produce enough. So what it matters to me is the fact that our endogenous cannabinoid system creates balance. It, regulates things like cognitive function, sleep patterns, our inflammatory response, our immune system, our endocrine system, so our hormones, cardiovascular system. What it means to me is health. It means balance. It means that, supplementation is required unless you're a small child or exclusively nursed, because endocannabinoids are in breast milk, you are suffering from a deficiency. So I highly suggest that you educate yourself, find a supplement that works for you, find the right product, the right dose, and the right delivery method, and make it matter for you, for everybody.
That was good. I really appreciate that question. That's my actual last question. I do apologize. One of the students here. One more question.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for having me on. It's good. Make sure we speak with you again.
Definitely.
I'm on Instagram.
Make sure you guys follow Dr. Lakeisha. Send a lot of information on her page. So
I tell you guys, we're trying to give you guys hardcore facts right now. That's pretty much all we're doing.
All right, see you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Next, we have the Madison House, DC.
Hey, bro. Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Peace.
How you doing, brother?
Pretty good about yourself.
Doing pretty great. Great day.
So first off, we want to ask you the question is, why does marijuana matter to you?
Why does marijuana matter to me? Peace, love, and light, everyone, too. I am a Algebra of the Medicine House for those who are familiar and for those who are not familiar. And marijuana matters to me because it's almost like as we're journeying through life, as we're journeying in a strange land, when I tap into marijuana, it's almost like I'm tapping into home, the frequency of my mother, the frequency of my father. And in that moment, I'm able to connect the source and receive rejuvenation and receive power and receive clarity. So it matters to me because it's a grounding force, it's a grounding aid as I navigate through a foreign land.
So just let everybody know, like, what do you do in, like, the, you know what I'm saying, the cannabis industry, as far as just tell a little bit about yourself so people can know and they can follow you as well on your Instagram.
Indeed, thank you. So again, peace, love, and light. I'm Algebra. Who am I in the cannabis industry? I'm almost just like this spiritual guy. You know, I teach a lot of classes as it relates to how to heal your body with cannabis. I was the first person in DC to do cannabis yoga. You know, when cannabis legalization first came out, again, I've done expungement clinics from my space. I've done a little bit of everything. A lot of people was birthed before it was massive overpopulation of people in the cannabis industry. A lot of things were birthed from this space. I am a priest of cannabis. So 4 days after I was born, I was actually initiated into the cannabis system. So my whole life, I've been learning about this plant medicine, how to use it to tap into the spiritual realm, how to use it to heal, how not to abuse this medicine, and be aware when the medicine is sitting you down. You know, yeah. So my whole life has just been this relationship, this world. Even my name is Algebra. So it's God's name 3 times, God of the sky, God of the land, and God of the man. You know, so understanding what that the information of the herb is. But yeah, I've been featured in tons of different publications around the city as it relates to this fun, quirky guy who is healing people by saying, yo, let's roll this up, let's set some sacred intention, and let's watch it manifest itself. Like, how can the beautiful part of being able to sit back and set an intention with your J, sit back, inhale, and exhale whatever the bullshit was out, and watch your desires manifest without you having to do anything because you set the intention from the beginning. You know, I'm about ascending. So let's get high, but let's not get stoned because a stone is going to sink to the ground. It's going to fall. It's going to sink your ship. How do we ascend with this? How do we get higher with this? How do we connect with this? I offer cannabis Reiki. You know, so sessions where we actually do energy work. We have a cannabis. We do energy work. Cannabis medicine. I guess I've just been in for a while because even when I was younger, I was making medicines with different herb blends to treat different psychoses such as schizophrenia. You know, so I'm just a guy who embraces. I was inhaling before you made me go live, so I had to exhale real quick. But a guy who embraces plant medicine, most importantly, a guy who translates the ancient language for those who choose to receive it, can hear it and also change their own life too.
So it is, you know, Mental Health Awareness Month. You know, what kind of tips or guides do you have for people that are dealing with mental illness or anxiety and stress like that?
If you're able to, I will say research the strands. So like since this COVID-19 pandemic has happened, I've been all of the strands, whether it's the indica, whether it's a sativa, all of them have a big focus on depression and anxiety. Like I need some shit to smoke so I can sit myself still as I'm mourning and grieving the fact that black men are still being killed, that black women are still being killed. As I mourn the fact that.
Thank you for saying that. I was waiting for one of us to actually do that.
Moment of silence.
Can we please have a moment of silence for all the black men who've been killed?
Yes.
Thank you. That's what you're saying.
Got what I was saying now, but either way, but focusing on if you're able to, because everybody doesn't live in a place where you can choose your strand, have access to different strands. So if you're able to find a strand that makes sense for you, right now it's no longer for black and brown people to be using marijuana as a place of escapism. Right now, we need to be tuning in so we can figure out how to get out of this freaking matrix, especially when the world gave ourselves permission to create a new existence, a new way of being. So focus on what you can actually embrace is going to benefit you and not take away from you. Yes, it's fun to check out. That's why I always keep maybe the indica around, because sometimes it's just like, fuck all this shit. Ain't trying to think. Let me inhale this. Let me embrace this. And I'm tuning all the way out, but we can't stay out. We can't stay disconnected. We can't stay in a place of being stoned and not being elevated. So yeah, this time find a strand that works for you. If you don't have a strand that works for you because you're still embracing the brother on a corner and his supplier, then as you're crumbling that herb with your hands, set some attention. I need you, herb, to give me clarity on this, to not give me anxiety. I need you to allow me to go to work and not cuss people out, but still tell them the truth. I need you to, affirm it. So therefore, as you're inhaling, those things are coming within you. And you're also transmuting the energy of ganja that came from an unknown source. And even if you do know the source, it's still important for you to set your hands over it. To set intentions, y'all. We can't just be doing some shit just to be doing some shit, yo. It's the moral of the story. It's more sacred than that. As it comes from my teachings, cannabis is an alien plant that was brought to the earth in order for you to connect with the spirit realm and essentially to connect with your God self, your God body self. So it sucks to waste an experience where you can connect with the most high within you, and you're not even clear on how to do that in the first place, or that you are the most high within you. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just share that in funky, cool ways, and we smoke a jam, we dance in the corner, we just do some yoga, and after it's over, we heal some shit, But
I like that. I might come, but they have bad back. I ain't stressful things out.
Yeah, any questions?
Yeah, let's think.
Are you gonna be bringing back the marijuana yoga when on?
I don't know. I have an ebook that's coming out soon, and where people can actually take their practice with them.
Okay.
I did the marijuana yoga faithfully for 4 years. And again, so a little bit more about me. I have a wellness center here in DC, but I'm also a teacher. Yes, you can go to the medicine house. Join our mailing list or follow our thing. You can get there. But so now I teach. So I have students all over the world. So I spend time in different states teaching people. I'm a teacher of ancient spiritual medicine, where I'm able to tap people into their higher selves, where I'm able to tap into the spirit world and teach you how to connect with everything. So a lot of my 2 weeks a month of my time is spent towards that, and the other 2 weeks is spent towards my own joy and my own pleasure. So I'm working on seeing how I can do some classes, but when this pandemic is over, I kind of want to turn up anyway. So I feel like a lot of the things that I used to do, I'll be bringing back or making pop-ups because I feel like we need it. We need to exhale and hug, honestly. I do hug therapy, so we need to exhale and actually be like, yo, I've been touch deprived and emotionally starved forever. Come hold me while we smoke this shit. You know what I mean? So it's just important to bring that and bring that community and even bring that awareness as also coming out this pandemic, many of us are coming out awoke. So as we're waking up to our new realities, it's important that we also have community or have people that are safe spaces. So we can also learn how to be safe in the world.
It's really crazy out here. So
I honestly agree with this whole everything that's going on, this whole shutdown, this pandemic, the whole world. It opens your eyes way more than what you expect. Like, for me, the answers. I grew up in DC, and it was really weird waking up and going outside just to go to my car and seeing nobody outside. Like, I don't even hear the sirens anymore. That's weird. Like that's not supposed to be weird, but it's like where are my people at? Like I don't see my brothers outside. I don't see me. It's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We need a time. We've been so distant from each other that we actually have a time to where we need to have a space where we can sit down, talk it out. Like how did you get through it? Who did you lose to this whole pandemic?
Yeah.
Let's really see what's going on, because that's one thing that I've noticed in this world. If we don't do it for each other, no one else is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That heavy factors, like the light factors. No one's going to do it else than us. So yeah, I agree with that. After this, things going to go back to being closer together.
Yeah, and we have to also be careful that we didn't inherit fear during this pandemic, or especially governmental controlled fear. You know, because Black and brown people, we already got enough shit, and we already looking at each other suspect when we walk by any damn way. So it's important for when we come together, we actually can be like, yo, I showed up here today because I don't fear you. I don't even look at you as a COVID-19 threat. You know, because hell, there's enough fucking threats on our heads any daggone way. So, like, I did not now look at you as a COVID-19 threat, and now I feel my own brothers and sisters, and I'm going to stay way over this way. You know, but like, yo, it's been a second. How you been fucking coping? Yeah, like, what's real, and again, touch. We're touch deprived as people, so being able to touch, be able to bump a shoulder, smack a hand to pump a chest, or whatever the case may be for your translation of infection, but being able to do those things. Yeah. To be able to be together and not talk sometimes, because it's been some shit. So let's just turn this groove up. Y'all, everybody rolled up. Y'all ready to start this process, and let's begin the coming together, because again, I feel like it's important that we learn to do so, but this time from a whole perspective. Like, everybody's not making it out the pandemic with you. So that there's people who during this pandemic have been doing their work, who have been figuring out a way to evolve themselves, and there are people who have not been, and the mere fact of facing themselves has been the biggest nightmare ever. So even as we're coming out of this, we're going to begin to create bonds and relationships with people who are relatable to the things we were able to accept throughout our experience. You know, so it's a whole new world, and it's about saying hey and meeting and greeting our people, you know, because we have not done that enough already. And that's a conditioning of oppressive white supremacy behavior that we inherit just from everything.
401 years, so let me know. 401 years, just going to put that out there, how long they've been doing this. Yeah, fun fact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's, you know, to be done, be happy with 5 years of, well, actually, I'll give you 8 years of Obama, and we should just shut up after that. I need all my chicken back.
Right.
I need all my chicken back. I need 420 actually. I need actually 19 after that. That's just how I feel.
I need my self-worth back. You spent hundreds of years investing, and before even slavery was over, but investing and breaking me in front of the people who value me the most, and now I feel like I'm not enough.
Yeah.
So I need you. Like, if you want to do something, ally, if you want to do something, government, if you want to do something, white supremacy, like, yo, you got to acknowledge some shit in return. I believe in reparations. When I pour my libations, when I do my prayers, or whatever you call it, I call in spiritual reparations. So I'm reaping shit from my ancestors. I'm reaping shit for shit that was done I wasn't even aware of. Spiritual reparations, let me get it. You know, just have to go on a rant, but that's my thought in this current moment.
Oh no, trust me, anything. I was looking at the clock like, hey, you talking? I'm about to start talking with you. But no, I think that's all the time we do have for today, though.
Word. Well, again, thank you for allowing me to show up today. Thank you for allowing me to share. Again, I can be found at the Madison House, DC. That's on social media. That's on Instagram. That's on Google. Yeah, when the world opens back up, I look forward to opening my space back up and sharing some activities with the people again. So
let me know. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Indeed. Peace.
All right. Next, let's see. That's a question. Oh, that's a question. Good question. Is there a way we can push more content on your page? On our page? Oh, if you want to, you can talk to the
I guess in
Lit Love Journey. If you can DM her, she will actually give you more information about that. All right, but let's see if we can. We have one more guest supposed to be coming in. I don't know if I talk. My eyesight's trash. So.
Oh, this girl.
My eyesight is horrible. 20/20 vision in reverse. Hey. Hello. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm living. I had a spiritual moment. I was like, ooh, what is this? I love it. But if you guys do not know who this is the lovely Stone at Home Mom. How you
Yes.
doing today? Let them know how about you in the cannabis industry or the cannabis lifestyle, I should say.
What was that? What was the first part of that?
Cannabis industry or cannabis lifestyle? I like doing both. Some people say it's lifestyle. Some people say
it's a lifestyle for sure.
Okay. Yeah. So just let the people know like what you're about and you know what I'm saying stuff that you do.
Okay, so I basically just try to be a voice or an advocate for other canna moms, I guess. So it's actually a very popular thing that's becoming more, I guess not accepted, but more people are trying it if they haven't already been using it. But I also feel like a lot of people are like uneducated about the real benefits besides just getting high. It has a lot of like medicinal properties as well. So that's what I try to inform people about, because I was actually surprised to learn that a lot of people don't really know too much about it, I guess, in like that aspect.
Okay. We have the annual question for you. Is it what or why? Because you said what and why. So I gotta know. Why does marijuana matter to you? I'm gonna go with that one.
Because it helps with everything. Like, I don't know, I feel like without it, I don't feel like right. It just helps just like with everything. Like, I just feel like it cures so many things. So that's why it matters to me.
I agree completely. Now, let me get to my question. So this segment, I don't know if you were here earlier, and all the people who are in now, my name is Marcus and Tay. This is Marijuana Matters, and this is a good question to say, so you guys know who we are, what we do. You know, hard facts in life with marijuana, the good and the bad. But as I was doing my first segment, we were talking about greening out. Have you ever heard of greening out before?
Yeah, I think I have, yeah.
Okay, so from that segment, I put in a little symbol at the end called, what you really need to do is have a tolerance break after the greening out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this is what this whole segment is about. Tolerance break. Tolerance. How do you take a tolerance break, and how do you know when your tolerance break is done, I should say?
I think you need one. Really, I mean, you don't really need one, but you should take one if you've been like consuming large amounts and you're not feeling the effects anymore. So a lot of heavy users probably need to use a lot more cannabis to get those effects, which is where a tolerance break really comes into play if you're not wanting to have to use such heavy amounts. Plus, I mean, it gets expensive too, so there's that part too.
No, when it comes, I do. How can I say this with a professional way? Money wise, in terms of getting marijuana, that it's a lot. If you're really like a heavy consumer,
it does add up.
It adds up a lot. Like you talked about how much whiskey sells a month. Like it's a month, right?
Yeah. So I read that he spends an average like $10,000 on marijuana.
A month.
Yeah,
a month.
A month?
Year. Not a couple months. Not Christmas. I'm just on it. It's January and I'm cold. Dropping 10,000 marijuana.
Way. I wish. That'd be nice.
No. So, now, next question. Okay, I'm trying to get everything situated here. The next question is for tolerance break. For me, I'm going to kind of tell myself a little bit. I am a consumer when it comes to marijuana as well. And I know what it's like to take a tolerance break. I had a spat a time where I actually did use marijuana for abusive quality. For 2 years, from like 19 to 20, I was in a bad space, in a bad living situation, and marijuana was always there. I think for 2 years straight, I smoked every day. Every day. Some people who are young, they're like, "Oh, that's dope. That's great. That's everything." No, that's not fun. It makes it seem like it's like I have to do it at this point. It's I know what I have nothing to do today but smoke. Just might as well smoke it up. Like that. It was to the point where I had to leave the living situation I was in and take the tolerance break. I took a 5-month tolerance break. Almost after 5 months.
It's a long
time. I probably slipped up once on 420.
Yeah, of course.
I was one blunt. But other than that, it was a long. It was long, very annoying because there are side effects when you do tolerance breaks. Your body's used to having that effect. Your eating disorder, not eating disorder, but your eating schedule is usually actually always off because if you eat only when you smoke, then that's when you realize that's when it's hungry. Is when THC into his body. It's like, okay, dinner time. Okay, we're snacks. I'm hungry. I noticed I can not smoke at all one day, and I would not eat that entire day. From waking up at 8, doing a full-on move. I was a mover, moving people, go home, and wait until 10 o'clock, then smoke, and then like, oh, I didn't eat today. I'm actually hungry right now.
That's like, so really.
Like, that's why I'm really like headstrong when I tell people, like, if you do smoke a lot, tolerance breaks is something that's a part of it. Like,
it's something good too that I think everyone should take at least once or twice a year. Tolerance break. Because even when you go back smoking, I guess you will enjoy it more. You're not more so just doing it just because you're just doing it occasionally. You know what I'm saying? Just something just relaxing and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's important, especially because your tolerance gets so high. Like, it's just, you just need to. If you get to that point, it's just not even worth it anymore, really.
Yeah, because then you find yourself smoking 2 or 3 joints back to back.
And you have no idea why.
Yeah, and then once you take that tolerance break.
Just to do it, it's like not even doing anything anymore.
Yeah, so after the tolerance break, you like, sometimes you probably want to finish half the day, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Saving money as well, because like you're not smoking all that stuff like that. So
that's the greatest thing about tolerance break. That's the reason why I do take them. Is because the ending when you do start